If we have audio, hopefully we do. Just let me know, guys, in the chat if you can hear audio right now. What's going on, Mike? Mike says good. Okay. Mike says good. All right. Kind of an impromptu last minute thing here, doing Thanksgiving live stream. It's their first. But I figured there might be a lot of people who are done with dinner by now. And there is football on, of course. But there's also people who don't get to meet with their family on Thanksgiving. So I thought maybe I would find a couple people out there who maybe want to come by and say what's up and a couple things talk about what's going on in Ireland right now. Some things I saw on Twitter this week about the box office for Q4 and the infighting in the AMC crowd. And the January 6th tapes, some of these new releases that have come out and what we're seeing. And why is it we're just seeing this now? This shit it's really bothering me. A lot of the things that are going on right now are really bothering me, man. But it's Thanksgiving, so I'm going to try to stay upbeat and not get too dragged down with the politics. But yeah, there's a couple things I want to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the channel, the future of the channel, which is in dire straits right now, just because of my situation up here and the last couple months and some changes that are going to be coming very soon, as of tonight, actually. And over the next 4 nights, I'm going to have a live stream every night. So tonight, tomorrow night, Saturday, and Sunday, we're going to go live every night up until the market opens on Monday. And I'm going to kind of just get a feel for where everyone's at. All right, let me say, hey, there's we got 10 people right now in here. All right, I'm surprised we even have 10. But Bucks fan, what's going on, man? Happy Thanksgiving to you. Mike says happy Turkey Day, Mass. Right back at you, man. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you there. I hope you got your bellies filled. And, if you live in a town where there was football today, hope your team won. I know Dallas won earlier, and Green Bay beat out the Lions in a shocker. So that's good. Bucks fan, Headstock Harem, how you doing tonight? Says, what's up? Packers won. Thankful for that, says Headstock Harem. Yeah. Kid Love looked pretty good. He looked pretty good. Montgomery had a good game, but other than that, the Pack looked like they were on track today. So, and Dallas, man, they're just blowing people out. You can't stop them right now on offense. They look like a well-oiled machine right now, Dallas. They got dangerous targets out there. If Pollard can stay healthy, yeah, they're a juggernaut. Tommy B, how you doing tonight? Happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend. Good to see you in the chat. Tom, did you have turkey today? I'm curious. I'm assuming everyone had turkey today, right? And is everyone done with dinner? Tommy says, happy Thanksgiving. Is everyone done with dinner right now? Even West Coast? Like, I figured 5:30 West Coast, I would probably have some people who are done with dinner. Hopefully. Tommy says, turkey ham dressing and pecan pie. That sounds good. That sounds damn good, my man. Congratulations to you. I'm assuming Oh, it goes on. Rolls green bean casserole. All right. You were well fed today. You cannot complain. All right, so we got a win for the Packers for headstock. Tom has a full stomach, which is good. We're not at 84-32 yet, but you are being fed. That's the most important thing right now, right? Fed and watered. Bucks fan says, did you see Governor Nancy Hochul? Yes, I did. Yeah, I bookmarked it for tonight. This is one of the things that has me extremely concerned right now about what's going on. Here we go. Let me pull it up for you guys. So if you don't know, Kathy Hochul, which I put in Lily's tweet the other night, Kathy Hochul Min is more like it. She's a commie. All right, let me blow this up. So this is a tweet from one of the guys over on Twitter. Travis says, happening now, the New York division has ruled in favor of Governor Kathy Hochul in a landmark case for government overreach. Rule 2.13 states isolation and quarantine procedures will give the state of New York the ability to come in your home and take you away to quarantine without any notice and for any virus or infection they deem necessary. You won't have an option to fight it, no court date, nothing. The rule has no age limit and they can keep you as long as they'd like. The rule also allows them to treat you as they see fit, including using methods that are still in testing. This is one of the biggest abuses this country's ever seen. This is only the beginning. How long until this is nationwide or even global? And here's Lily for Congress down here with her response saying, not constitutional. This case needs to be heard by the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, prove ASAP, New York is becoming communist China. And she would know, right? Lily fled communist China to come here. And now she's running in Congress to protect this country from falling into those habits. Koenig Hans Hagerwolf said, so what happens if people resist with firearms? Well, then the elites are in a lot of trouble. And we're going to talk about that because the January 6th footage is being slowly released, as was promised by House Speaker Johnson. And some interesting stuff that we were seeing. Now, I'm not sure if Rumble is seeing me right now. I did set everything up for Rumble to pick up the live tonight on the stream. I hope that that's happening. If you are joining from Rumble, just let me know, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, Bucks fans, crazy. And the tools for spotting, Bucks fan says, and the tools for spotting conspiracy theories and misinformation, disinformation, and online hate for grades K through 12, right? I mean, we are dealing with some diabolical shit right now. Unfortunately. It is not. This is detrimental to the youth of this country. And, I walked to the store a little while ago. I was having a rough day, so I went and got, I broke down and bought a bottle of cheap wine to drown in my sorrows. And I was listening to chapter 7 of The Fourth Turning. And they were, in chapter 7, they talk a lot about, well, they get into kind of their predictions based off historical cycles of where we are going to be in 2026. So remember, this book was written in 1997. And in the first couple paragraphs, they talked about, they just nailed this. But they talked about how, Let me see if I can find it, because I was listening to this on the walk. What they were basically saying is that the nomads of Generation X and some of the late millennials, because remember, these two guys came up with the term millennial. They were the ones who coined that phrase for that generation, was Strauss and Howe. They came up with the millennial theory on what these what this generation would look like, how they would be reacting to politics and to what was going on in the world at the time. And seeing that yesterday was the anniversary of JFK's death, which for us was supposed to be the end of um our high point, right? As in the cycles of history, when JFK was shot, that kind of ended that very upbeat and optimistic generation and the way the country was acting at that time, from the end of World War II, from V-Day or VE Day till Kennedy was shot. There was a lot of prosperity, right? People came home from the war, they had babies, everyone could afford a home. Things were on the rise in America. We were the dominant world power across the globe, right? And then when Kennedy was assassinated, that kind of took the wind out of our sails and sent us on this crash course to destiny with 2026, sometime between 2024 and 2028, when our crisis will end, which started back in 2008 with the financial crisis, President Obama coming into office and systematically beginning to destroy this country on multiple levels. Tommy says 8432 on the way. Yeah, Tom, we're going to talk about that tonight. I'm going to talk about my AMC position and what I'm thinking going forward, just because things are pretty rough right now, and I'll get into that more in depth as we go along. But it may be my time to exit the AMC play. Unfortunately, just unforeseen circumstances have come up, and yeah, it might be unfortunate, but it is the biggest part of my position in my portfolio. I've had my money in there for 31 months, and haven't really touched it at all. But when there comes a time when you need to do what you need to do in order to move towards your next step in life, and if that means that I can't hold AMC anymore, then so be it. It's just something I gotta live with. Beverly says, "How does Sam Bankman fraud?" Beverly, how you doing tonight? Good to see you, my dear. Says, "How does Sam Bankman fraud get away with trading fake AMC tokens and crickets on Mockingbird Media? Thanks, Matt, for what you do to enlighten us in the era of censorship." Yeah, brother, I'm going to talk about that a little bit tonight. The censorship. Most of you guys probably don't know, but I put my first video up. What's today? Thursday? On Monday on Rumble. That video, as of right now, has 6,000 views on Rumble. I can't crack 250 on YouTube with over 7,000, almost 7,500 subscribers. I can't crack 250 views. I made more money in ad revenue on Rumble on my first upload with no subscribers than the same exact video upload to YouTube hours previous. Cannot crack 250 views and was demonetized. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit tonight. This is kind of going to be in my part of what the video was really about tonight. Because I said I had some big announcements about the documentary and some changes coming for the channel. And after I opened that Rumble account on Monday and saw that I had 6,000 views on a video with no subscribers, as opposed to YouTube, who demonetized me. And again, the click ratio is not the problem. I'm getting like 48%. So half of you guys who see my videos click on it and watch at least half of it. So it's not an issue of that you guys aren't interested in what we're talking about. For some of you, it might be, but for the majority of the videos I'm putting out, It is not for a lack of interest. It is for a lack of promotion. And, I'll just show you right now while we're talking about it. Fuck it. I'll just bring it up. By the way, let me just say hey to Pam real quick because me and Pam are secretly in love. Hang on. But Beverly, yeah, the Sam Bankman-Fried situation. Did I bookmark that? I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I did. I bookmarked this on X. Someone put up the donations that he made. I want to go over this in a little bit. Who Sam Bankman-Fried was making the donations to and why. And maybe we'll have a chance to break that down a little later. Pam says, hey, happy Thanksgiving, Mass. By the way, Beverly, happy Thanksgiving. Pam says, happy Thanksgiving, Mass. Sorry I can't stay. Pam, sorry, back to your family dinner here. Love you all. Shouts to Prometheus. Love you, babe. Love you, Mass. Love you too. Back at you, Pam. And tell Prometheus hello from all here that are live right now. Tommy says Johnson had Kennedy assassinated, in my opinion. A lot of people have been saying that, Tommy, right? That Johnson desperately wanted to please the military-industrial complex, and he played a role in it. Yeah, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting how that ended the good times for America and really set up the stage for where we find ourselves right now, right? The death of one man. And they were talking about in the fourth turning, I was kind of trying to get to this earlier, but they were talking about how some of the people of the early part of the boomers, mainly the Gen X generation and some of the older millennials, are going to have to make a stand. This is, remember, back in 1997, talking about they're going to have to make a stand for which country they want this, which way they want this country heading in the future. And they were dead on. Because we are on a slippery slope right now as a people. And this constitutional republic is being threatened by people in our own government, amazingly. Bucks fan says Roger Stone was on PBD. I saw him the other day, Bucks fan. Great insight on JFK coup. Yeah. That part of the conversation, I'll have to go back and watch that part, Bucks fan. I didn't see what they said about JFK. I'll have to go back and do that. Mike says, terrorist attack, car load of explosives, Canadian border. 3 hours later, oops, just a car wreck. Yeah, so I'm up here, and I didn't find out about it until dinner time last night, honestly, because I was working on the documentary, so I was kind of buried in going through some of the video editing. But yeah, that was interesting. It came out and said that. And then finally went after the I guess you say the conservative candidate for prime minister who's going to be running against Trudeau. Watch this interaction. This is wild. This was earlier today. This guy is just an expert on shutting down the media with their antics. He is a master. Check this out. Poilievre, he is a conservative candidate for prime minister of Canada next election. And watch how he breaks.
Question.
Hi, Paula Larigio with the Canadian. Do you think it was responsible for you to call yesterday's explosion by the by the checkpoint at the Rainbow Bridge terrorism when no U.S. or Canadian officials said that was or authorities said that was the case, and when the New York governor also said there was no evidence to suggest terrorism activity?
Actually, you're wrong. You're a CP? Okay, so CP, by the way, CP, just for everyone's knowledge, did have to make 3 corrections for falsehoods they put into a single article. I think that might be unprecedented. I'm actually thinking about checking with the Guinness Book of World Records to see if has had to issue 3 corrections for patent falsehoods that they admit they had been made in one single article, and now you've made a falsehood in your question. Where you are wrong is that CTV reported that the government of Canada was presuming that the incident was terrorist. So, yeah, that's what I said in my remarks. You're right. It was a media report.
But it's citing media reports and not.
Which is what I said. In the House, I said there are media reports.
And you think that's a responsible thing to go on?
What kind of statement?
Calling something terrorism.
I didn't. There were media reports.
That's the distinction.
No, there's no distinction. What I said, and I was right, was that there were media reports of a terror-related event. By your admission, there were media reports of a terror-related event. And that media report, according to CTV, unless you're questioning their integrity now, came from security officials in the Trudeau government. So do you think the CTV was irresponsible in putting out that tweet?
Do you think it was responsible
Sorry, I'm asking, and I have already answered that. Do you think CTV was irresponsible to put that tweet out? Well, you just did comment.
Okay.
So, I just hope you're not going to print something that you have to apologize for again.
Okay.
Unbelievable. The way this guy, because he has a little bit of a conservative view. Meanwhile, the people up in Canada are suffering right now, unbelievably. It's $8.99 on sale at the major grocery brand up here for a box of Raisin Bran. $8.99 on sale. But they're worried about him overreacting to what clearly, it seems like across the board to me, like I said, I was working on a documentary yesterday, so I didn't see the live breaking, but it seemed pretty much across the board. We're saying the car was late explosives. Matter of fact, by the time I did finally get the news on it about PM last night, they still were saying in the titles or the subtitles of on the newscast that it was laden with explosives, which was still wrong. How they're still doing that 3 hours later, I have no idea. But that was Canadian Central Broadcasting. Beverly says both of your videos were right on. Thank you. I will hold my AMC shares because Wall Street is corrupt like the central bankers. It's going on forever. You're the best, Mass. Beverly, thank you. Appreciate you. So let me just kind of tell you guys what's going on while I was talking about my AMC shares. So I'm going to put this up. I'm going to escape. When I'm talking to you guys about that, I need to make some serious decisions. Sound? Check, mic, check. Yeah, I need to make some decisions because I need to be able to pay for the everyday things that food, transportation, cost of living, all those things. If I can't generate enough in 30 days to cover the software to do live streams, and here's the other thing, if YouTube is going to suppress the videos that much where they won't allow me to make a living off it, I can't do it, right? And I've been on here 31 months. 31 months since I started my channel as of like 2 days ago. And I've held my AMC shares throughout all this way. But when it gets to this point where, either what you're saying is not important, or not that, but if YouTube doesn't feel like you are towing the line enough, they will not promote your information. As you just saw, Rumble put out my first video and it got almost 7,000 views, and I don't have any subscribers on Rumble. I have 7,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I always said if it ever came to a point where I couldn't even afford to pay the bills, and not only can I not afford to pay the bills, like that's an understatement. I can't even afford to pay for the software that is running the show right now. $57 would barely get me the 1-month membership. So, as you guys see, I said I wouldn't do this unless I absolutely had to do it. But I feel like at this point, I absolutely have to do it. Because I can come on and talk about AMC and I won't get banned. They don't care if I talk about that. Like I said in yesterday's video, and Jay was saying it from Geeks and Gamers live stream, they don't care if we're talking about comic books. They don't care if we're talking about the stock market. They don't want us talking about the other things. And that's the God's to honest truth. They don't. They don't. I can sit here and talk about AMC all day and they will not demonetize me. If you see in this shot, off the cusp and not to do with AMC, they will not let you make any money off it. So that's where I'm at right now. I will still always upload videos for fun and because I enjoy doing it. But as far as like the live streams go in the next 11 months, shit's gonna get crazy in the next 11 months leading up to the election. I'm gonna be heading back to the States in about 7 weeks before the New Hampshire primaries. I want to do some work there about the election and the voter IDs. And I'm working with some people back there right now. I have some lines of communication open with people, and we're going to try and pull off some shenanigans, let's just say, during the elections with some illegals that we know, but that we're very close with. They're giving out licenses in Massachusetts right now and New Hampshire. And I probably shouldn't even be talking about this right now, but we're going to be doing some good investigative journalism into the election come up in 2024, starting with the New Hampshire primaries in March. And that's when I'll be heading back to the States, back to New Hampshire. I want to be on the ground there for the election. All the candidates will be coming there, I'm sure, who are still in the race. And I think that's it. We're at a complete turning point in history right now. This is a big deal. We are in the fight for the soul of this nation, I believe. And saving the republic. And I feel very passionate about that. And so I will continue to make uploads and stuff like that, even if it gets 250 views. To me, that's and the software I paid for a year, so I don't have to worry about that. But as far as the live streams go and that kind of stuff, there's no incentive. So my thing was I can keep talking about AMC, but not own AMC, and that's that seems like a shitty thing to do, right? I'm not going to go liquidate my position and then continue to come out here and talk like I still own it and care about what's going on with it. To liquidate my position, I don't give a fuck about what happens to AMC, right? I care more about what happens to the country overall and the future that I bring my children into. And it's just, we can still call this the constitutional republic in a couple of years. Right now, that's more important to me than anything else. More than my portfolio, more than Adam Aaron and what he's doing, and whether he's, or who the shills are on Twitter. I see a lot of pettiness, and I see a lot of people calling each other all kinds of names because they have a different opinion on. I mean, shit, guys, we live in America. Like, if you don't think Adam Aaron, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what world you're living in that you think that everyone's just going to agree with you on everything. They're not, right? They're not. People's opinions differ depending on the day of the week. And where one day I might be pissed at Adam Aaron for something he does, like dropping shares, the more I come back to my level headedness and say, okay, well, why is he doing that? And then I look at the box office right now. We're 7 weeks in. We got 4.5 weeks, and we haven't even cracked $1 billion yet, right? And everyone's sitting here screaming, yelling, why is he dropping shares? I mean, if you were the owner of a company and you were looking and saying, because I see people on Twitter here. I'm going to show you guys. I mean, this is some of the ridiculous shit that I'm seeing on Twitter. Hold on. And we're going to talk about Dublin in a second, because this is what really put me in the foul mood earlier, was what happened in Dublin today. Where is... All right, hold on, let me see. Maybe I just posted it to other people's. Maybe not. All right, well, let me tell you what I'm seeing. Is a lot of back and forth with people saying that they have the concrete evidence that AMC is being tokenized, and that they can prove this and they can prove that. And other people saying, well, if you don't believe that AMC is being manipulated, then you're the other side, you're a shill, you're an Adam Aaron bootlicker. And, I answered back to a couple comments today just saying, look, because you think you have the smoking gun. I know everyone believes they have the smoking gun, right? And after 31 months, I have heard every reason in the book that someone has put out there for why they feel like they're being manipulated. And make no mistake about it, we are getting fucked, right? These people are fucking us. That fact is not lost on me. I get that. I understand now how the game is played. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. We have seen very few victories and a shit ton of manipulation over the last 31 months. We got the run 2 times, caught them off guard, and they have fixed that problem. They have solved retail, right? Don't tell me they haven't, because they've been able to suck $3 billion in market cap out of AMC since June of 2021. So don't tell me that the hedge funds haven't figured it out, because they got it figured out, guys. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but they got it figured out. Now, is it possible there will be a day when they aren't prepared and we can catch them off guard again? Of course. Anything is possible. But seeing people online going on the attack, on the offensive, on other, especially people that I know in this community who have been holding this stock through thick and thin, when it went to 72, held it all the way down, didn't sell in the reverse split, right? And that stuff bothers me. And I'm not a big on pettiness. I think we got bigger problems to deal with right now than just Adam Aaron sending dick pics and whether or not he is working for the hedge funds. And I mean, I lost 90% of my portfolio from AMC. So at this point right now, do I really care what else is going on in anyone else's personal life? No, I don't. I want AMC to succeed. I think that Adam Aaron has kept our heads above water and continues to do so, especially with not even feeling any of the impact yet of the writer strike. I wish I could find this post. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe you guys can help me, because I'm not very good at Twitter. And put this in where I posted like an answer to someone. Where is that? Message? Where would that be? Maybe notifications? God, I have no idea how to work Twitter. Maybe here. Oh no, this is something else I tweeted about. Hold on. Shit, I don't even know what any of this is. Oh, Jesus. Well, I wish you guys could help me right now. In here from Hamas to racism, Dublin. Where's my AMC? I got into it earlier today, and this is kind of what I want to talk about this. I know someone answered me about the... God damn it. Of course I can't find it right now. Ugh. Let me see. Maybe you guys know. Oh, Tony says go to profile. Thank you, Tony. Happy Thanksgiving, Tony. Profile replies. Thank you, Tony. I don't know shit about this. Here we go. All right. Let me roundabout. Like I said, I was fired up earlier. Okay. Here we go. Here it is. All right. So, crystal ball. The regulators are corrupt, and that's not our CEO's fault. You should direct your anger at the regulators if you understand how the fake market doesn't work. This guy Pot says exactly. If you wonder whether someone is with AMC, just recognize their ability, thank you, Tony, to ignore the clear manipulation that has been documented by many apes. Crystalball 93 hosted the spoofing report for over 2 months straight. Tokens are now documented, etc. And then I just wrote back and said, when has this documentation ever, for a single trading hour, helped the stock price? And if this documentation is irrefutable proof, why have the regulators ignored it? And if they don't acknowledge it now, says they ever will. I'm still holding, waiting for that glorious day. Meanwhile, getting my teeth specifically my largest position. Think AA is doing a solid on many fronts, but just because the ignores the clear manipulation doesn't mean that shareholders do or the CEO shouldn't be pressing the regulators with that clear evidence to move their ass and do something already. And I see this all day, every day, between people who say that, you're a shill if you can't understand this. Some of this stuff is not meant for AMC shareholders' eyes. But I see a lot of this going on, man. And it's, like I said, I'm not really big on pettiness, but there's just a ton of this shit out there every day. And it's a complete different landscape than it was when I first bought AMC in March of 2021. I didn't have a YouTube channel back then. I was just a normal retail investor, which I still am, just like the rest of you guys. I just started this channel and came onto the internet, into YouTube, because I saw a lot of bullshit, and I saw people hyping up other people for views and talking about crazy price targets and things that I knew well in the stock market, that we would be able to drive AMC's price to $500,000 a share and bring the market cap of AMC up to $250 billion or $3 trillion. There was a lot when I started this channel. I had good intentions, and I still believe in the company, and I love the movies. You guys know I'm a big film buff. I'm going to see Napoleon tomorrow. But at what point do I have to say to myself, is this really worth it? I mean, if I can't cover the cost of the software to do the live stream, what am I doing here? And like I said, I'll still keep making videos because I pay for the software for the year. That's not something that comes up that I have to pay for all the time. If any of you guys were on Twitter the last couple of days, you saw I didn't have a blue check mark. That's because it bounced in my checking account. The $16 for Twitter bounced. So I said when I first started this that I would never try to impose anything on anyone. If I could manipulate and use YouTube and Google to be able to pay for any services. But at this point in time, that is just not realistic anymore. They do not want to push out what we're talking about in the live streams. That's become abundantly clear. T, did you see this, what I put up earlier, by the way? Did I show you? I know I didn't show you this, but can you believe this shit? This was my earnings for the last until I saw So look, they want to push a certain agenda and a message on here, and that's fine, right? They're a private company. Um, I met some guidelines that they asked for, and they monetized me, which I'm thankful for. They got me up to 31 months. But they've made it pretty clear that they're not interested in hearing what I have to say, at least. And again, the uploads are fine. I do that in the spare time that I have. But the live streams, it would be great to come on and do live streams about AMC. But if I have to try to go on and keep doing that, I'm gonna need to exit and get rid of my AMC. I can hold a couple shares maybe, but I got the next 60 days. I cannot work in this country. I can't get any revenue coming in. So I can finish my documentary, which I'm almost done. I'll show you guys. I finished the. Oh, I'll pull this up for you guys so you can see it. Maybe you guys can let me know if you're gonna watch this on the replay and you see it. Take a look at the poster for the movie and tell me what you think. Honest opinion. But this is the official initial poster. And I am going to work on trying to get it to see if maybe Adam Aaron, I sent him a message the other day about the distribution logo and telling him it looked like shit. And that if we're going to be a real profiteer in the distribution business for film, that we can't have something that looks like a stepped on bottle cap for a logo. And feel free to use mine at no charge, or one of my designs. I also mentioned about the documentary. So yeah, this is it here. This is the title page. The engineers behind the destruction of America. And this is going to be about my travels over the summer and how everything fits into what went down in the summer of 2020 with the BLM and Antifa riots. And I'm really proud on how it's come out so far. And I hope you guys do enjoy it. But again, I've had to go back now and make certain edits because I'm afraid that YouTube is going to suppress this. And I think I was more naive before I went on my journey, thinking that, I'll be able to show people coming up to the window in Kensington where the zombie apocalypse is with the drugs. But now, after I've been tagged so many times, they're going to say that's violence. Just a little clip I put in of George Floyd, the still photo that was used as courtroom evidence to convict Derek Chauvin. They used that to demonetize my video. I made more money on YouTube, still under, I think, $1.50, but I made more money on Rumble in my first upload. Again, this is the crazy thing. It just shows they want people fucking towing the company line. If you're not, you are of no use to them. Kevin W., what's going on, man? Happy Thanksgiving to you. He says, we had our Thanksgiving a month ago. Why does Canada? I don't know, man. I'll tell you what I did last night, Kevin. I had my friend's parents over and made them turkey stuffer sandwiches for the first time. They loved it. They didn't even know they existed. They were extremely happy, and I got out of a cheap dinner date for like $30. So I'm confused over any Thanksgiving schedules. Tony says, or catalyst ideas, I should say. Yeah. I mean, me and T had this conversation over on the phone many a nights, and long after we got off of live streams with you guys, after 3 or 4 hours, talking just back and forth to each other, about what do we think is going to happen? Just speculating on what the next day would bring, the next week, the next month, the next quarter. Hollywood, the box office. I mean, we spent countless of hours doing this. And we've had serious conversations about our verbiage and being very careful on what we say and how we are talking to our audience and making sure that we don't try to lead anyone on and misrepresent facts or anything like that. And we've since the first time Tony approached me to do a collaboration, The first time we ever talked, we had that conversation, and I said, and Tony was the same way. I said, I've been kind of vetting some of the guys, and then once me and Tony started collabing, we tried to start vetting the guys that we were having on the channel, who we were adding to the broadcast. Now, we made some major mistakes, right? Looking back. But I did want to kind of know where people's intentions were, and that's why like AB and a lot of those guys we had on, Chad Clifford. I can't think of a ton of names right now, but that we knew held shares, and we're into the retail investor winning this fight that we still seem to be in right now, but we're just losing very badly with AMC. But we took this stuff very serious, right? It was using the word catalyst or MOAS. Me and Tony both dropped those words from our vocab. I want to say like around November of 2022, maybe even earlier. But we were just like, we gotta be careful with that word. And I remember, like it was yesterday, people coming to me and saying, you should change your name to Massalorian. And I remember saying, that would be so cool. But you know what? I don't want people to believe that I know that a MOAS is coming, because I don't. I hope it is, but I don't. And me putting that kind of name and attaching that to the channel would have kind of been disingenuous, right? Because and I know everyone, there's still people out there who believe that we are going to be so rich and all those things. And look, I love a lot of people in this community. I have many friends that I've met in this community. But there needs to come a time when spitting facts is more important than clicks or views or income or any of that. And like I said, if I found myself at a point where I had to pick between one or the other, I would come out and let you guys know. So I am giving everyone a heads up. Like I said, I never thought it would come to this, but here we are. It's a tough economy right now. And I'm not going to feel bad if there are people out there who say, I don't feel like helping out right now, or I can't help out, and I get that, right? I totally get it. But I just want people to know that my heart was in the right place when I got into this. And I plan on sticking that all the way till the end, whatever that end may be. If it's that I need to clear up some cash, and it would be kind of, I don't think it would be very fair for me to come out here and be giving my opinion so heavily on AMC if I didn't have a vested interest in seeing it do well, right? Because then I'm just like any other Joe Schmo out there throwing their 2 cents on Twitter. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, happy Thanksgiving. How you doing, doll? I hope you're well. One of my OGs. Tony says, I heard you say 6,000 views on Rumble. Amazing. Maybe I will go on politics. No, I put almost 7,000 now with no subscribers, Tony. Like, do you know what that feels like to work that hard on a video for 3 days and then you get 250 fucking views with 7,000 subscribers and you drop your first video on Rumble, pull this video out of nowhere, nobody knows me on there, I got no subscribers, and gets almost 7,000 views as of this morning. I mean, what the fuck are we doing over here? And look, I get it. No one wants to admit that there's a good possibility that Derek Chauvin didn't kill George Floyd, right? It doesn't bode well for everyone's what they think of the world, that every cop is out there to assassinate people, and every traffic stop they can get their hands on, and they're out there hunting down black males in this country. And some people believe that, and if you do, that's great. I'm happy for you, but that's not the reality, right? It's not the reality. There were more people killed in this weekend over in Chicago, black on black violence, than will be killed by police officers all year long. Okay. So I'm tired of, and that, right? If I was out here lying and not, if I wasn't doing my research and finding out and looking at the autopsy report and looking back to see what is the training on this? Is this a technique that the Minneapolis Police Department has used in the past and that they teach to their officers? If I was out there giving the other side of the story and lying, then I could see that maybe I'm getting what's coming to me, right? But you never get in trouble for telling the truth. You only get in trouble for telling the truth. Tucker Carlson got fired because he spoke way too much truth on Fox News. That's why Tucker Carlson got fired. Because he spoke up about the military-industrial complex. He stuck up for Julian Assange. He stuck up for the Ukraine war and saying that, well, this is ridiculous that we're spending all our money over there for paying all these people's pensions and their salaries while we have Americans in this country starving to death, veterans who can't get health care. The people who toe the line get promoted. If you don't toe the line, they find a way to extinguish you. Pretty much. Mike says, Tony, happy Thanksgiving to you and Scarlett. Tony says, I like politics, but my views would be squashed on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, you know how many times I can't invite Tony on to do a collab because I'm talking about politics and I don't want to get his channel demonetized for the night? Like, it sucks that I have to do that, but if I know that the material coming up is going to be political in any way, shape, or form, I can't invite Tony on. Who wants to come on to a 3-hour live stream for $0? Well, we'd have to be fucking mad. Can't hear me when I have the camera minimized. God, it's the least of my troubles right now, T. I'm about to liquidate my portfolio to try to get back to New Hampshire before the primaries. All right, I'm going to try not to move that anymore where I'm at. Let me put the chat back up, see what people are saying. I've been ranting enough. Thomas says, question, if Tony is your boy and he seems to be making money, has he offered to help you out? Thomas, this is not Tony's problem, right? This is not Tony's problem. Tony makes decisions that are the best interest for him and his family, right? And I want everyone to do that. Everyone should be looking out for their family and their loved ones because we are coming to some fucking scary times very soon. Make no mistake about it. I don't know what the next 11 months is going to look like, but I can't be out here relying on Tony. I'm a big boy. I need to be doing what's best for me. I thought that AMC was going to pay me off 10 times over, maybe more from when I invested. And so far, it hasn't worked out like that, right? And that's a decision I have to live with. I stayed in this stock through 72, through the reverse split, all the things I could have done. They've been different. Those are all decisions I made. And I'm a grown-ass adult. And Tony's not responsible for anything I do. He says, I'm real confused by this. Sorry, Tony, just asked a legit question. No, well, here's the thing. Tony's not coming out here talking about politics, right? So they're not going after Tony. They're not going to suppress Tony's videos in the same manner as they would suppress someone who's coming out here going against the narrative that Google and the YouTube gods and everyone else that is on that side of the aisle wants to promote. I wouldn't have believed it until when I uploaded the Rumble video, and then it opened my fucking eyes really wide, and I'm like, oh, okay. So it's not that people don't want to hear this. It's that YouTube has now decided to crack down specifically because of what I'm talking about. And it's right in the I mean, they put it right in the notations. They're not hiding this from me, right? They're making it very clear, like, hey, by a bunch of socialists under the thumb of the government up until Elon Musk bought it. You guys saw what happened in real time with the Twitter files. Don't think the government doesn't have its mitts all over this, because they do. So, getting back to what I said when I started out on this channel, is I would always try to take the profit from Google or, these big entities that are out there that are making money off of the back of, the little guy sitting in a fucking 4x6 space right now, coming out a couple times a week trying to talk about current events and everything. I always said I wouldn't do that. You can ask Tony. We talked about memberships a lot of times. Like, you should just get memberships. And I'm like, if I need them one day, I'll always be able to fall back on that, right? But as long as things are okay and I can make sure I pay the bills, I'm good, right? Like, I don't think there will be a need. Well, that time has come. And look, no one needs to feel bad for me or needs to do any of that. I'm just letting you guys know where I'm at right now. And I'm still going to be uploading videos just like I have for the last 31 months. But if you do appreciate what I'm doing, if you want to help support the channel to keep the live streams going, there's an option out there how you can help. And I'll leave it at that. And like I said, I'm going to do a live stream the next 4 nights, no matter what, leading up to the market opening on Monday. Whether that will be the last couple live streams or not, I don't know. At least for the next couple of months until I get back to the States. I can't say. But we will be live next couple nights. And look, if I get a bunch of feedback from you guys and I can still be able to do this and have the software to run this kind of live stream and the subscriptions that it takes and paying for the software to make thumbnails and edit videos and all that stuff, I'll still be here. But just, it's come to the point now where after all this time, I just got to make a decision on whether holding AMC is really the best idea for me, no matter what the possibilities are from MOAS or anything else. This election coming up is extremely important. I really believe we are in, like I said, a fucking battle for the soul of the country. And it's a big fight. And I want to make sure I'm on the ground there. I got to get back to the States. The next 2 months that I'm here, I cannot earn an income. I cannot extend my work visa. So I'll finish my documentary. But I'm not going to come out here and do live stream and talk about AMC if I don't own any, because I've cleared it out so I could free up some cash to be able to live, right? So one of two things will happen. I'll be back in the next week still holding AMC, or I won't be, and I'll have cleared out and taken whatever I can get my hands on right now and start anew. Again, this is no one's responsibility. I don't need anyone to bail me. Tony's not responsible for my content or that he needs to help me in any way, shape, or form. Tony's been nothing but, overly supportive of everything I've done so far since I've come on to the scene on YouTube. And look, I was with you guys all the way up until this week. And I still might be. I don't know which way the wind's going to blow in the next couple of days, right? You never know when it's going to happen. Maybe Roaring Kitty will see this video and send me like a $10,000 check, and I won't have to worry bitch anymore. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know that this can't continue forever. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. And yeah, that's all. That's all. All right, let me get some of the comments. I know you guys are probably going to be making fun of me. Chris Mickashaw says, Happy Thanksgiving all. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Chris. Maggie says, I hope all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Maggie, back at you. Back at you, Maggie. Hope you did too. Kevin says, Thomas B, are you new to these guys? They are always supportive and bounce off each other, that support. Yeah, man. I mean, look, Tony has been one of my most solid people I go to in this community when I have serious concerns about whether it's the market or the community or anything. I can always count on Tony D picking up the phone and trying to help guide me and in the right direction, right? And that's all I can ask for. Just for him to be a friend in that manner is priceless, literally priceless, right? Mike says, share the link to your Rumble account. I guess no one is watching on Rumble right now. I still haven't figured out how to do the live stream yet over there. Yeah, see, it says upcoming. Let me show you guys. So if you look at my Rumble right now, I'll put up on the screen. Yeah, see, it says upcoming, just a concerned citizen. Yeah, so obviously it's not doing that. All right, how do I do? Okay, let me put the Rumble thing. I couldn't believe I got subscribers on Rumble off that first video. I literally didn't think anything was going to happen with that video. And when I saw the response come back from it, I really freaked out. I got fucking heated. I've never got heated before. Because I spent so much time on that video. All right, I'll put that in the chat, the Rumble. Yeah, if you guys want to go over there. All right, let me go back up here. Dennis says, hold on. Kevin W says, damn, speaking of views, forgot to hit the like, BRB. Yeah, Kevin, like, honestly, at this point, man, it doesn't even matter right now. Like, it doesn't, hitting the like button fucking doesn't matter. On my videos, talking about, it doesn't matter. I literally, I put that little, like, the click thing in the videos, like, hey, click subscribe. And at the end of the video, I always, say, like, thank you to all my subscribers and the people who hit the like button. But a lot of people on YouTube are like asking for you to subscribe and hit the like before they even get their fucking video out. Now, I've just learned that, if people like your video, they'll hit the like button, right? If they believe in what you're saying. Beverly says BLM has been exposed years ago. Let's expose Wall Street and the central banksters and companies who support this violence. Yeah, Beverly. So what I was really concerned about is that there's a man right now in prison, right? Who, come to find out, that MRT technique was taught by the Minneapolis Police Department, that the chief of police lied under oath, right? And said that it wasn't, that tactic was not taught as a maximal restraint technique. MRT was how it was described. And sure as shit, his mother brought out the training manual that Chauvin had since he was recruited. And there were pictures in the manual showing that was a proven, used technique. And even in the video I showed, they didn't rescind that technique until April of 2023. Chauvin had already been in prison for 2 years when they actually repealed that using that technique against aggressive arrestees who were resisting arrest. So I think it's important that if this man was politically lynched, and let's not forget, where the fuck was he going to get a free trial in this country after what we saw happen? They had National Guard troops in Humvees and tanks parked out in front of the courthouse. You had Maxine Waters from the House Finance Committee saying that we need to push harder for a guilty verdict or get in the streets and get violent. That is not the kind of country I want to live in. And look, I'm all about exposing what's going on with Wall Street and the bankers. I really am. But I feel like I have more of a chance of making a difference maybe in this political landscape than I do on Wall Street. Like maybe I'm just not cut out for, because I feel like there's a bigger fight here at play, and we are in way over our heads right now as far as the amount of control these people are wielding. I mean, look at what's going on with YouTube. If they don't like your message, it will not be heard. No matter how many subscribers you have or how many like buttons you hit, Rumble proved that on Monday. I dropped one video out of nowhere with no background and no subscribers that got 50 times the views. That should scare the fuck out of all of us, that kind of shit's happening right now in 2023 America on social media. Because what kind of future is that? Yeah, it's more than just BLM, Beverly, right? I understand BLM is a fraud. I thought that from the get-go. They were a Marxist, bunch of lesbians who were against the nuclear family, who want to tear down everything that this country stands for. They were a sham from the get-go. They didn't spend a goddamn dollar on one of the people, any of the people who were killed by police officers in 2020. And they watched this, sat back and watched this country burn as they collect checks and bought mansions, right? But again, here we are 3 years on, and this guy's still rotting away in prison right now based off of lies that were told by the medical examiners, the chief of police on the stand. I mean, that is not, we are no longer in a constitution. We are in a fucking banana republic if we're letting this shit continue, and we know about it and we say nothing. There's plenty of people online talking about Wall Street right now and the tokenization of stocks. Like, there's a bunch of whistleblowers out there. I wish some of them would come from the actual banks and not just fucking Twitter. But there's a whole army of them out there doing that. I feel like there's more going on here. And these ultimately, these guys on Wall Street and the central bankers and the companies who are supporting this violence, they revel in this kind of disharmony that's going on, right? You see it in Dublin right now. Look what just happened in Dublin over the last 24 hours, right? People have fucking had it with this shit. Like, you come out and extend your hand to these people, right? And you say, hey, we're going to be the West. We're going to be better. We're going to let you in. We're going to give you these benefits. We're going to allow you to come here and practice your religion and come out here and protest in the streets and rip our flags down. And then to thank us for that, you're going to go stab our fucking children? Like, when is enough enough? Here's what the police commissioner in Dublin said.
It's disgraceful things in terms of major investigation, maintenance of the scene, gathering of evidence, and we have a complete lunatic hooligan faction driven by far-right ideology, and also with this disruptive tendency to engage in serious violence. Now, we are drafting in resources to deal with that. That will be good for trouble. I've been very clear.
So if you missed it, he said it's very disgraceful that we have our Irish citizens out in the streets acting like hooligans with a far-right ideology. Now, that man that was just speaking, his name is Drew Harris. This is him right here. So this is the chief of the police in Dublin. This is September 2023, 13th. This is 5 weeks ago. A vote of no confidence in Garda Commissioner, head of the Irish Police Force, Drew Harris, has been passed by the Garda Representatives Association. The association, which represents rank and file members of the force, has been in dispute with Mr. Harris over rota changes and other working conditions. The vote of no confidence was passed by 98.7% in favor and 1.3% against. He reiterated he would not resign and said there was no comparison between his position and that of former PSNI Chief Constable Simon Byrne, who resigned after a vote of no confidence from Police Federation of Northern Ireland last week. Now, in case you guys don't know, the man who was arrested who stabbed these kids was an Algerian migrant who came over in the last couple months. Now, I don't know what his motivations were. I'm not going to pretend like I can get in his head. But Dublin's fucking had it.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Get them out!
Go on! Go on! Go on! Go on! Smash it! Go on, lads!
Yeah, crazy. Dude stabbed 5 little kids and a couple adults. And the police commissioner is coming out here and saying this is right-wing, far extremist ideology.
People are angry. People are angry here. Very angry. They're marking with plastic eggs. People are very angry.
You know what's amazing to me? So they've had these protesters out in the streets now for the last couple weeks. These pro-Palestinians ripping down flags all over the world in these Western countries. And no police commissioners have come out and said squat. But the minute that the people of Ireland and Dublin take to the streets because they're pissed that this illegal immigrant was in their country and ended up stabbing 5 of their citizens, and they've had enough of police doing nothing about it, the police commissioner comes out and calls them far-right extremists. I don't know, man. We are heading in a very scary direction. Can you imagine? Well, you know, that's the thing about the right over here and conservatives in this country. There's a lot of talk online, but we don't really do much, right? So it's to be like the party of like peace and law and order and respect authority, and we think that the police are a necessity and we need them out there patrolling the streets from lawless criminals taking over. But there's only so much a man can take until they're going to start pushing back hard, right? So good for the people at Dublin. If there's any illegals, maybe they should all just go home. I mean, no offense to anyone, but if you can't come here and adapt to the culture of the place that has been willing to let you in, then maybe you just don't belong here. And I don't think that's being racist. I think that's being realistic. All right. Back to the Tommy says, Kevin W, I've been here. Yeah, Tommy's been around since, my God, man. Yeah, Tom was like one of my first subscribers ever. I literally think Tommy was like in the first 100. I honestly think Tommy might be in the first 100 subscribers I ever had. Yeah, Tom is like the oldest OG. Mike says, Kevin, Powerball numbers, please. Kevin says, I can see into the future from Canada and having Thanksgiving a month ago, and spoiler, it's very filling. Mike says, MOAS after mass liquidates. I know. That's what will happen. I'll get back to the States. I'll have enough like first, last, and security deposit, and then the stock will take off to fucking 10,000 a share. That'll be my luck, man. It will. At least immediately after that, I'll hang myself, so you won't have to worry about me anymore. Because if that happens, I'll hang up the jersey forever. I'll make it official and permanent if that happens. Lucy says, "What's your channel name on Rumble, Massalorian?" It's just a concerned citizen. Lucy. Tony says, "Mash, you should do a pre-planned test, make a video on YouTube." Like, I feel like that's what Monday was, right? I dropped them within like 2 hours of each other. To see how many views it gets. Yeah, be like, I should. That's. Oh, I see what you're saying, T. Yeah, I should do that. Complete opposite argument. Be like, Chauvin belongs in prison forever. They should kill him right now. Firing squad. Dennis says, I remember when it was our patriotic to question your government. Things have changed, I guess. Wait a minute, Dennis. Did I read that right? I remember when it was patriotic to question your government. Things have changed. Yeah. No, not anymore, man. No, because the Democrats don't want to look, and I don't even think Donald Trump's going to come after them. He said that back in 2016 that he was going to lock Hillary up. He didn't go after his political opponents. And Donald Trump's not even the biggest threat. I mean, shit. If you want to talk about threats, Donald Trump was mild, okay? Compared to what I'd be doing if I was in office. I'm serious. Donald Trump is pretty mild. He's on the I would say the left or extreme of the right. Honestly. Because I'd be banning a lot more shit than he's even talking about. Especially when it comes to the kids and the LGBTQ fucking agenda and the trans bullshit. Like, that would be a no-go for me. That's what I would run on that more than anything. And parental rights and all that stuff. Like, Trump is pretty mild. Like I put in the video the other night about the guy down Malay there in Argentina. Like, that guy's out there screaming and yelling on television like a maniac, calling the left a bunch of shitheads who will kill you. Like, man, Trump is pretty mild compared to that, right? No, Kevin, I can't run in Canada. I'm not a citizen. I would never be able to beat Trudeau anyways. He's way too handsome. Bucks fan says Netherlands Geet Wilders has won the election in an absolute landslide victory. The people are fighting back. Bucks fan, yeah. That's another thing, man. Like, so like I said, I was planning on getting paid from Google this week, and I was gonna go to. There's a big free speech rally in Vancouver. They haven't announced the venue yet, but Eva, what's her name? Eva, hold on. Billboard Chris is going to be there, who I think is a really important guy who's going around the country right now talking about, you know, kids and how they shouldn't be making decisions on these growth hormones and stuff that they're taking right now. That the pharma community is pushing on them. They want patients for life. They want to do these surgeries so they will continue to have a patient. Let's see. Here it is. So this is coming up Sunday. Journey Productions presents. This is Christine Anderson. And she's coming to do this speech. North American tour. We the People Globalist Elite. She's going to be speaking with this hottie, who I'm in love with. I'll be honest, like this really perked my interest when I found out that Vladimir Brook is going to be there. Not that I have any shot, but I'm just saying. With Billboard Chris. And yeah. It's just things that you want to be able to do and attend and try to make connections. And YouTube is no longer allowing me to be able to use this platform to generate any kind of revenue. I mean, fuck, man. If I can't crack the Benji mark after 31 days, problems. Thomas B says, I'm out, Mash. Just want to say happy Thanksgiving. Love you, man. Thank you. If you need to chat, give me a call. I will, Tom. I will. Have a good Thanksgiving, man. Appreciate you coming by and the support. Kevin says, hey, Mash, where do you land out west? I have a daughter at the border. Yeah, so I'm out in BC right now, man. I'm out in the Langley area, just north of the border, laying low in the mountains. If you're going to be out here for Christmas, let me know. Let me know. Lucy says, never mind. I found your channel. Sorry, hun. I was a little late on that, I guess. Yeah, Kevin, I wish I could get another job, but yeah, there's only that temporary work visa right now. And so, the way I'm seeing it now is we are 10 months away from the election. Primary, like 6 to 8 weeks. I gotta start looking for a place. Then I gotta get back across the country again with all my stuff set up, get everything out of storage, and get ready for the primary. So it's gonna be rough. Jersey Cyclist says, no, I just I had to get out of the country for a while, not because I was in any trouble, but I have a very good friend up here who I've known for a long time, who's a very dear friend of mine, and she offered to let me come here and still broadcast and do the YouTube thing and work on the documentary after I traveled the country this summer to take all that footage. And but I can only stay here so long. You only have a temporary work visa for 90 days, and then in 120 you have to leave the country. So I can't stay here any longer than the very end of January, beginning of February. So that's why all this is relative to time, right? And these things just happened to play over the last couple of days. The video and uploading to Rumble and seeing the numbers and not getting paid the other day and freaking out on Google as to why they didn't send me my check. It was kind of just a bunch of things, right? Maggie says, I'm still holding AMC as well. I'm not sure why. Yeah, Maggie. I think it's just a stubborn thing with me at this point, right? Like, I can't see to let them go, right? Thank you, Maggie. Appreciate you. Much love, Maggie. Yeah, it's rough, right? it's not easy when you know the system is up against you. Like, it would be one thing if they did it to all the videos, like, even, like, say, the YouTube the live streams that me and Tony do together where we just talk about the market, but they're not doing it to that, right? Those get monetized. I can get a little bit of ad revenue from that, right? Barely anything, but they are putting some ads running some ads on there. But if it's anything other than the market, um and, that's what a lot of us like to come on here and talk about, right? Like, a lot of us like to talk about other things than just the market every day, right? And we have our ideas and our speculation about what's going to happen with the stock or other tickers, and how CPI data is going to affect the market overall, and are we heading to a bearish or the next cycle that's coming up, and how our Q4 numbers going to be for AMC. There's always something about that to talk about, right? But there's so much else going on in the world right now that's scaring the shit out of me. And unfortunately for us, all of us on that are still here, we haven't got paid on our original investment yet. As a matter of fact, we've seen a large portion of our original investment be lifted from our portfolios, right? So again, it would be a different story. Like, I saw Jackson. What's his name? Jackson, not Jackson Hinkle. Jackson Hunter on Twitter the other day talking about Grok, the cryptocurrency coin, like the AI thing from X. And I'm like, motherfucker, didn't you have to leave the internet because you said you couldn't handle talking about stocks anymore with people who disagree with you on certain things? And here you are popping your head out again, getting into meme coins in a very volatile meme coin that, like, just had a huge spike, almost like a Shibu spike. I don't know. I see some of this sometimes and I'm like, man. Yeah, thank you, Maggie. Appreciate you. Much love, much love. Slick Rick says we've known this since 2016. You're shadow banned. Yeah, I didn't really realize it though, Slick Rick. Like, I didn't really think I was shadow banned. I just thought people were getting over it and tired of hearing me talk about the same shit over and over again. Like, I literally didn't think it was really shadow banned. I think that's why I had this big freak out this week when I really happened. And I'm like, okay, so the Second Amendment doesn't exist anymore. That's not that I can't live in that country. I will do anything to push back against that. I can. Ken says, Ken, happy Thanksgiving. Kevin says it's reported BLM made $80 million. Candace Owens did a very detailed video about this, Kevin, on her channel. She tracked down every penny of it. It went to her security detail. They bought multiple properties. It went to all kinds of funding for diversity arts and transgender studies. Go over to Candace Owens' channel, and she broke it down extremely well. She has all the documentation with the FOIA requests for the whole tax year of 2020 when BLM raised $100 million. Ken says, what do you think will happen? Oh, yeah, man, Ken. I just did a video about this yesterday, right? Like the guy said on Geeks and Gamers, they don't care if we talk about AMC in the market or comic books or the movie theaters or the Marvels or Star Wars. They don't want us talking about the political shit that is going to oust them from their seats of power. The FCC has never been in cahoots with the government like this before. And let's not forget, they just lost a huge Supreme Court case in Missouri where the Biden administration was again trying to infiltrate the social media companies to spin narratives. And so what do? They say, okay, we're going to bring in the FCC under the guise of digital equity and digital discrimination, right? This Trojan horse, and say that it's for the betterment of humanity and for the not so privileged and the poorer of us out there, and that way they can monopolize the internet and basically shut down anyone that they disagree with. I mean, if they don't like what you're saying, they're going to have complete control to go to your source of uploading information and cut you out. Again, let me look and see. We're living in some very scary times, and I'm realizing that, AMC is not everything to me as I thought it was 2.5 years ago. I have much more control over certain things in my life. The market, not so much. Right. So that video I uploaded yesterday about the FCC, 230 views. Now, if I look at the ratio of how many people clicked on it that they actually popped up in their queue, so it was shown to them, I'm running like 50%. Again, it's not a matter of that people don't care about these issues. It's the fact that they're not pushing it out to any of my subscribers. I've made... I'll pull this up right now. It's wild, man. I haven't looked for a while. I probably spent 3 or 4 hours making that video. YouTube has allowed me to make 10 cents the last 24 hours. So, I find this shit evil, man. And, me and Tony, we get the emails all the time from the companies out there that want to sell you something, and or they got some stock brokerage thing, or there's always someone out there willing to pay for YouTubers to push something, even if you're getting a small audience. Because when we talk about AMC, it's not a small audience, right? So the market people, again, are coming and they're pushing out those videos to more subscribers. So you'll notice on those videos, I still get 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 views. Those are worth money to people out there who are looking to capitalize on investors who may be either noobs or, they're very green in the market. They don't have a complete handle yet on how everything works. And, me and T, and look what happened. I mean, it took Matt Kors down, Meet Kevin, Tom Nash, all these big guys who were out there decided that, the dollar was worth more to them than their audience. And, me and Tony talked about this for 2.5 years. Like, slow and steady wins the race. Be honest with your audience. Don't lead them astray. Try to give them facts the best you can. And that's really all you can do, right? And don't push something that you either don't believe in or don't use yourself. AKA FTX with Matt Kors and Meet Kevin and those guys. And again, they paid out in the lawsuit, but I'm sure a lot of people got screwed over by listening to those guys. They're still out there selling courses, right? I mean, if you were really that good that you had a course that could make you all that money, would you really need to make the course to sell it? If it was that great? Like, couldn't you do anything better with him? Like, use the course that you're promoting to make more money than actually it would bring in from people buying it? Ken says the legislation they're currently pushing will entrench them much further than anyone realized. Yeah, that's why I'm out here sounding the alarm, Ken. Like, that's why, despite the fact that very few people see it, and again, it made 20 cents for 3 hours of work, it's worth it to me because I think I think the saving the republic is at stake here. Like, we're about to lose our constitutional republic. We're very close. Same thing, like, I was saying the other night in the live stream about AMC and them deciding not to promote or to let that video play, the documentary film um, about the trans surgeries for kids. I find that very alarming, and that shit is not cool with me. And I said it into the email I sent to Adam Aaron, um, the latest one I just sent the other day. That bothers me that you guys were able to be bullied by 2,500 signatures and the threat of someone showing up at your theater protesting, some purple-haired land whale and her 5 boyfriends. I don't know if that's the best business decision going forward. Again, and I was just straight up with them and said, to be honest with you, if the next film that AMC decides to distribute, it hurts someone's feelings, and they go on Instagram and bitch about it, are you going to pull the film from distribution because 2,500 blue-haired land whales said that they were bothered by this? Because then I'm losing faith in you, AA. I'm losing faith in the business model, and I don't know if you know your ass from your elbow if this is the kind of thing you're going to be promoting. Again, there's some things that are more important to me at the end of the day than just my portfolio and what my account balance is at the end of the day, especially when it comes to the future generations in this country and children who are fucking innocent and don't know any better and are being manipulated by older people who should know better. And, I fault this with the CEO and the C-suite at AMC and the diversity and equity and inclusion officer that they hired back in 2021, who is dead weight right now, bringing in $650,000 a year. Again, put that in anything else you want. How about hiring security to make sure that the transes don't show up to protest the documentary, right? We have a whole department over at AMC, uh, to fight DEI. Just hire fucking good people. That's all I ask. Not everyone is cut out to work at the movie theaters. Slick Rick says the migrants are using the Irish uprising to loot. The Irish people are trying to stop them. Yeah, I put I even tried to get a hashtag going today for the first time. Are you Slick Rick, are you Irish? What is this? I know this tagline means our time is coming. Do you know how to pronounce this word? That's highlighted in purple there. Hold on. No, not anymore. Long day. Yeah, it was funny. I tried to start pushing this hashtag out, and then they stopped letting me edit the videos to put it up. So here's the word right here. Let me blow this up. It's a phrase. Tio Daharla. Tio Safai Daharla. It means like our time is coming. I wish I knew more about the Irish culture. I just know a little bit from my ex. But I do love the whole story about the IRA and their fight with England and throwing off the crown. I do think that's a great story. Maggie, have a good night. She says, good night at all, Mass. Whatever you do, you will do it well. Thank you, Maggie. Much love. Appreciate you. Mike says, wondering why Mass doesn't get super chat notifications. Sometimes I do, Mike, but like I said, man, the last 30 days we did 15 videos and live streams, and the total was $57. That's like less than $2 a show. But they would show up there. Like I said, I didn't get paid this month because if you don't hit $100 threshold, YouTube holds your money until you hit the $100 threshold. That's never happened before. And that just happened to coincide with uploading to Rumble and seeing the 7,000 views as opposed to the 200 with my 7,000 subscribers on YouTube. It was like, fucking forget it. Kevin says, why so many labels? Call it what it is, crime. They don't need labels. Every protester will go to the corrupt countries to stand up, time, hold accountability, and don't feel bad sending them back. Yeah, it's shit like that, Kevin, though, that's going to get me demonetized, right? And you know, I've always been very careful when I've collabed with Tony to make sure I mind what I'm saying and, you know, my chat, and to make sure that he doesn't get demonetized as well. And I've been pretty nonchalant about what we talk about when it's just me coming on doing live streams, but like it's become now unaffordable to be able to do that. Like literally they're going to push me into not being able to speak freely anymore, at the risk of not being able to earn a living. And that's what they want. Ultimately, that's how they control. Kevin says, Mash, you can hang. I already bought shares in every rope company just in case. Zelly Zen, how you doing tonight? Says, good evening, Mass. That's the second time now, Zelly Zen, I've seen you, that you've made it. How you doing tonight, girl? Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Yeah, you too. I hope you did as well. Good to see you in the chat. I know it's very far and frequent in between that you make it to live streams, so glad you're here. Mike says, yeah, so I saw that, right? I posted about this. And you guys who questions with me for a while know that I talked about this a couple months ago. I know I did. And if you're in the chat right now, you remember me talking about it. I specifically stated it a few times during the live stream saying, but what if the next pandemic was a pandemic of the children? Like, what if it wasn't something just affecting old people with comorbidities? What if it was something that was geared towards, because parents are ferocious when it comes to protecting their little ones, right? So back to lockdowns again. Would you shut down your business again if your kid's life was at stake? Maybe not so much yours, but if your children's life was? I swear to God, and you guys know who've been following me for a while, know I said this multiple times a few months ago. Way before any of these reports came out, we talked about it.
My team, so therefore, you know, my team will be getting first chances to get the vaccine. And I know that it's really, I'm sorry. My name is Tiffany Dover, and
Do you guys remember that? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that. Because I remember that. I remember it happening the day it happened. I remember that whole clip playing out. And I remember people going onto Twitter and saying that it was fake. Remember, guys, it wasn't that long ago that the government had complete control and grip on Twitter. None of our channels blew up until after Elon Musk bought Twitter. Buckson, you never seen that? That was the first nurse to take the COVID vaccine. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, that can't be real. But it was. That was dead real. You never seen that before? I remember that. Kevin says you can marry my girlfriend and stay. Kevin. I wish, man. I gotta get back to New Hampshire though, man. I feel like that's gonna be a big battleground state. I want to try to help that woman Lily get into Congress because I think she's got her heart in the right place in saving our constitutional values that we share. And I think she would be much better than Democrat who's there right now. Someone who lived in Mao's China, who knows what fucking real socialism is like and communism and how they will kill you. Not these fluffies out here in the street during, the Macy's Day Parade in white jumpsuits and a perm. I said this to some guy the other day. You guys ever seen Moass and Yoass on Twitter? I happen to be skipping back today and saying kept posting a video of Macy's Day Parade. And look, I don't necessarily have a dog in this fight when it comes to Israel and Hamas. I have my opinions about what I think about the two factions. I've learned a lot more about how much sway one of those parties has over the Republic here in the United States, just more recently. But I really don't have a dog in this fight. But he kept coming on and saying, thank God for Tony, man. I wouldn't have known where to find how to look up my responses. He kept saying that the world is standing with Palestine. And I said, what, really? You keep posting this video of these three LARPers out here pouring pig's blood on each other in the streets of Manhattan, New York, right? And saying, and the caption kept saying, the whole with Palestine. Name me one country right now, or one country that all of its people have come within even 500 clicks of Palestinian soil or the Gaza Strip. I have yet to see one. When everyone keeps saying that the world stands with Palestine, again, I don't have a dog in this fight, but Hamas, and we can go back historically of what happened in that region of the world, right? I know a couple facts about it. One, you will not find any Palestinian relics if you go digging up in the sands of the Gaza Strip and date back to pre-Christ era. All you're going to find is Hebrew artifacts. Now, everything until then, or from then till now, you can make an argument and a case for, I think, either side hating each other legitly and warring as tribes have done since the dawn of mankind on this planet. Simple fact. Like, mankind has fought over land, women, religion, food, water. There's been wars for many different reasons. This one happens to be extremely religious, and there's a lot of bent up hostility. because the Arabs and the Arab nations that surround Israel have repeatedly struck down or broken off negotiations for a two-state party over a half a dozen times from the research I've done and looked up. Now, you can say as much as you want that Israel is an oppressor, and I can agree with you all day on that. And like I said, I think that the fact that the highest you can go in Gaza is the mayor of Gaza City, and that is the best you will ever be able to accomplish in your lifetime, is a pretty shitty way to look at the world, right? If the best I could do was be mayor of Boston and I had to stay in Boston the rest of my life and could never leave, that would be a pretty glum situation. I don't think I would be satisfied with that life. So I get it. I get the breakout and the need to fight. But at this point now, Hamas made a very clear decision to go out and attack and kill any Israeli they can get their hands on. If you're Israel and you are surrounded by hostile Arab nations who have been wanting to eliminate you for centuries, pretty much, you don't have much of a choice but to roll in there with everything you've got and give them hell. And Hamas welcomed this fight. They said, "We are waiting for you, IDF. We've been planning this for months, years, and we have the backing of Iran and Hezbollah and the Ayatollah and the Yemenis." And so far, we haven't heard shit from anyone else in the Muslim world. As a matter of fact, what we have heard is people saying, "Not in my backyard." We've heard a bunch of Arab NIMBYs, basically. Arab NIMBYs saying, yeah, you can fight them, just we don't want them here. And we will denounce you and we will say that you are corrupt and crooked, Israel, but the Palestinians, we're not letting them in our borders. Jordan was like, fuck no, we already did that once. Not going down that road again. Egypt brought tanks up to the border. As soon as there was even a hint that they were going to open the southern part up to anyone other than international refugees, like from Canada and the U.S., Iran's been barking and Hezbollah's been barking, but really, they don't want to lose their political power that they have right now in Syria and Lebanon. For the first time in Lebanon, they're part of the legit government there, even though it's completely in shambles right now and it has hyperinflation. They finally have an actual seat at the table to discuss political matters on a international geopolitical scale with other big countries. And there's money in that, right? So those guys don't want to jeopardize that. I remember the first week of the war, there were a couple people on Twitter saying Syria's entered the war, like there'd be like a rocket launch. Hezbollah's entered the war. Jordan's entered the war. Lebanon's entered the war. Yemen's entered the war. And so far, all we have seen is the dismantling and absolute destruction of the northern part of Gaza for the last, 7 weeks? And nobody has come to help them. Not one fucking Arab, Muslim, or Jew or Christian has stood up besides the 3 fucking herbs that were in the street today at the Macy's Day Parade. No one is standing with Palestine. They're getting absolutely obliterated. Unfortunately. And I feel terrible for the innocent people who are dying over there right now, who maybe have nowhere else to go. This has been their home forever. Maybe they still have people who are a mobile country and can't flee. But this is some von Clausewitz total fucking war. I mean, this is a fight to the death, like the Greeks and the Persians, like the Romans and the Gauls, like when the Khan invaded the Sultanate. They wiped out everyone, right? They didn't leave When Genghis Khan destroyed Baghdad, he didn't come in and beat people. He wiped out Baghdad. He killed every intellectual, every childbearing woman, or they cut their breasts off. Like they neutered the children. They killed everybody. And I think that's what we are seeing right now. Unfortunately, you know, for those poor innocents, like I said, this is happening in 2023. But that's what we're witnessing right now. We are witnessing war on a scale that is a war of annihilation. There is no longer a two-state solution. I've heard many of the guys in Qatar who are Hamas leaders, who are fucking billionaires, somehow they're not in Gaza. They're in Qatar, up in beautiful mansions and in the top of these ivory towers with billions of dollars and no business, saying that there will be multiple October 7th over and over again. You can't have a two-state solution with someone that's mad like that. If they're a mad dog like that, they're going to keep attacking and snapping back at their master. You got to put them down. And that includes the women, the children, and everyone. And the offspring that will come back to haunt you 40, 50 years from now. Dare they ever get the chance to avenge the death of their ancestors. And I wish more people will wake up to that fact that that's what we're seeing right now, because it's become very clear. And if you don't see it, the Arab world is not coming to rescue Hamas or the Palestinian people. They are just as happy seeing them wiped out and wiped off the planet. They do not care. They don't. The Iranians don't want to get wrapped up in a war with the West right now because they got a nice deal going with China, selling $400 billion in oil in the last 2 years, and the contracts that could lead to more money under the Biden administration for Iran to export natural gas to Europe right now. And the Iranians don't want to mess that up. And that's why you have not seen Hezbollah make a move, because Hezbollah is a proxy of Iran. They're Persian Sunnis, right? Then you have the Shia Arabs in Palestine. They see each other as heretics, as apostates. And on top of that, they have no financial reason to get in and help the people of Hamas. There is nothing there for them. And it's unfortunate because I think a lot of the Muslim and, Arab world thought that this would unite, the Saudis and under this one banner to fight back against the West and Israel. And you're just not seeing it. And like I said, from the first week when this whole thing blew up, I think the IDF is going to turn most of Palestine into a parking lot. Whether they want it for the oil reserves, whether they want to do it because they don't want to worry about these little kids growing up and coming back to take revenge out for their, the death of their families, whether it's just to get rid of a headache that's been fucking in the back of their mind. They'd have to worry about and build walls for the last 60, 70 years because the Arabs couldn't come to a two-state solution. Every time it was brought to the table, they said, no, we will fill the streets with blood. We will, And you know what? They keep losing more and more territory. I mean, at one point, do you realize Palestinians would have had like 40% of the entire current borders of Israel right now? I think back in 1967, and they rejected that and said it wasn't enough. Then they said, we'll fill the streets with the blood of the Israelis, and they got their asses whooped in the 6-Day War. And it ended up that they drove the Egyptians all the way out of the Sinai back to the Nile River, almost, to the canal at least. And the complete opposite of what they thought was going to happen happened. And this has been repeating itself time after time after time. I think the time for half measures and talk is over, and it needs to be one and done with the Palestinian people. Unfortunately, their race will continue on in the West Bank. They have people who have Palestinian blood in them from, they're really a nomadic people. I mean, if you just go back and look up who the Philistines were, they were part of the Sea Peoples who came from the islands of Crete and Corfu and Corsica. They have a lot of European DNA in them, but where my family's from. But yeah, I think people. This protest is only to get you so far. No one's holding the reins in on Netanyahu, and I think he's willing to go down with a gun in his mouth. I don't think anything's off the table for Netanyahu because I think he knows his days are numbered, and he would like to see Hamas eliminated. I think before he either goes to prison. I don't think he'll go to prison. I think he'll put a bullet in his head before he does that. But if he gets to see the Gaza Strip wiped out and an Israeli flag planted there permanently for eternity, I think that will be a fight worth it for him because he's very radical, right? And I want to thank everyone in the comments who has kind of alerted me to some of the things I didn't realize before I started talking about the subject matter about AIPAC and how much influence they wield within our Congress. Because I think you would find a lot of people on the whole would like it to see a ceasefire, right? They'd like to see the slaughter of innocents and children and women and elderly come to an end. I think that's a given. I think a lot of, if not most of Americans would like to see that. Like we've been saying about the Ukrainian-Russia war for 2.5 years now, but no one's been listening to us. That it's a slaughter fest, and the Ukrainians, God, I saw a picture the other day of their soldiers on the front lines being entertained. They got to have like an average age of like 55 right now that's up on the front lines of the battlefield. They've wiped out multiple generations of Ukrainians in this war in the last 2.5 years. These American politicians don't give a fuck. And it's really, really disgusting to see the way they still talk about it. It makes you ashamed to be an American sometimes. But you know what? I always have to remind myself, and for all you guys out there, we are not them, right? We are not them. I didn't vote to send arms to Ukraine and threaten Russia's sovereignty by putting a NATO nation right up on their border. Like we would ever stand for that shit. I didn't sign off on sending those kids to their deaths. But the country that I live in is, and that's why we got to fix this country, man. That's why these people got to go. They're crooked. They're evil. They are narcissists. Their hubris is out of control. They are playing God, and this is the type of government our forefathers warned us against and said this is why you need to keep your arms and why we need to have checks and balances. But if the checks and balances at some point fall apart or there seems to be a monopoly on them, keep your arms so you can resist. And I feel like we are heading down that road, my friends. Unfortunately. These boomers and they don't look at them. They're dying in office, man. They are so wrapped up in this power game and they are so fraudulent and want to hold on to power so bad, and they want the rewards that come from that power grab, which is the money that they get, that they're willing to die in office rather than retire and let someone else come in to actually represent the constituency. I mean, at what point, my friends? At what point? Like I said, I'm only going to be here for a couple more weeks. I'll be heading back to the States if the FBI doesn't get me when I cross over. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go this weekend. I'm gonna do 3 more lives. Tomorrow night we'll do one. Saturday and Sunday, and we'll see how it goes, man. I mean, I like to keep doing live streams and stuff. I think it's really fun. I really like to get the feedback. I learn a lot from you guys. Honestly, like I've learned so much this last 36 months being on YouTube and doing the live stream just from having a back and forth communication. that I didn't, I always think I'm smart about things, but really I don't know shit, right? I learn a lot from you guys. Um, but like I said, if it got to a point where, um, it was going to put me in the poorhouse, then I would call it quits. And so again, don't feel bad. No one needs to rescue me or save me. I have plenty of AMC shares that I've been holding for 3 years, and I've been very stubborn about selling them. But maybe that's just the time, and this is the sign that maybe it's time for me to exit most of my position with that and make sure I can be comfortable. And if there's a free speech thing coming up, or I'm worried about my blue check mark getting taken away from Twitter, I won't have to worry about that, right? Everything happens for a reason. So we'll see how the next couple of nights go with the live streams, with the memberships, with Rumble and everything. And yeah, I wanted to make sure that I just didn't disappear off the face of the planet. You guys say, what the fuck happened to this guy? I just wanted to make sure I was clear and precise about what's going on behind closed doors. Things that you guys just wouldn't know normally, right? So again, I don't need rescuing. If you feel like that you enjoy or that you want to keep the small time that we have on here for dialogue open, and you can help put towards keeping the stream going, at least till I get back to the States. Once I get back to the States, I can work again and make my own money. I won't have to worry about it. I won't be locked out of, work visa. Um, I could go back to working at Home Depot for Christ's sakes, but I'll be able to get some gigs and do some filming, stuff like that. So it's really just in the short term right now that, if things don't turn around Monday, that the Restream $100 a month thing is going to be up. And like I showed you guys, $57 for the last 30 days. So I can't pay that on Monday. So I'm going to bust out as many lives as I can this weekend. We'll talk about a whole bunch more stuff, see what happens in Ireland over the night. But I feel for those people, man. I'm sick of this shit. If I was right now in Ireland, one of those people, and knowing, how we bend over backwards for people who come to this country with nothing and try to provide a little bit something for them, and give them I mean, things that I don't even have, right? I don't even have fucking cable TV, but they feel entitled to all these things, and then in order to repay you, they go around whenever something doesn't fit well with what's going on in the world, decide to stab children. Yeah, I mean, again, the next 11 months is going to be crazy, boys and girls. Make no mistake about it. The Democrats do not want to lose power. I don't think Trump will go after them as viciously as they're making it out to be, but I think they just don't want to lose. I don't think they're necessarily afraid of Trump, but I think that the money is good. The more they can keep funding Israel and Ukraine and all these other things, it's just more money in their pocket. They'll continue to play their stock options. I mean, we've all seen it. We know what's going on. Let's not be retarded and blind and say, "Oh, if they stay in power, it won't be a big deal." No, it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be 4 more years of bullshit and nonsense where the Treasury is scratching the back of the head of the Federal Reserve, who is fucking fingering the president to try to keep him awake. It's going to be that going on 24/7 for 4 more years. Trump is a little bit of a wild card who isn't down with the globalist elite agenda, right? Which is why they had to get rid of him so bad. The only president who hadn't started a war in decades. They always told us Trump was going to be the crazy one that would get us into a nuclear fight. And here we are on the verge of World War III. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it here for tonight. Sorry I had to come on Thanksgiving and bitch and moan, but this week really bothered me, some of the shit that I saw happen. And then today with Ireland and the stabbing and the media just twisting words. And I'm like, man, not for nothing, but some of us out there do want to tell the truth and do take our time to get the story right and put out the information as correctly as we possibly can. And when you're constantly being punished for that, it gets infuriating. And I was up to I had it this week. Let's put it that way. But anyways, all right, I'll let you guys go. Look, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys are all full. And like I said, I hope your NFL teams won. And I appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with me and putting in your thoughts on this and listening to me gripe. And I want you guys to know what's going on. Like, this is fucking real world shit. They are putting out little small time journalists out of business because they want to just tell the truth and don't want to hide things from people to push a narrative for one political party or the other, right? I'm not going to push anything for the rhinos either. I got no allegiance to any of these people in Congress. There's a couple guys that I think are stand up. Massey, Gates just recently, Anna Paulina down there in Florida, Flores in Texas. There's a couple out there. There's a couple gems. But most of them are all the same bullshit on both sides of the aisle. Trump is a wild card. He's not a globalist. He doesn't need their money. And that's why they need to get rid of him. And like I said to my aunt today, I called back home just to say happy Thanksgiving to my family. And my uncle said, they got to put a bullet in him. And I said, I've been telling you that for 2 years, that if we get down close to election day and there's a 10-point gap between him and Biden and no one else steps in, you better believe that's going to happen. Even though I don't think Trump will really go after them. He's not going to go after the deep state. He doesn't have the infrastructure to go after the deep state right now. They are dug in, right? They're in the swamp. They've been there for decades, a lot of them. But he can put an end to the wars like he did in Afghanistan. And what happened as soon as he did that? They started up 2 more, one in Ukraine, and now we got one going on in Israel. Sadly. They told us Trump was the maniac. Let's see what the guy down in Argentina does. I'm interested to see how a libertarian really plays out in the real world. Because Argentina is in a bad social economic place right now. They've got hyperinflation. Just goes to show you what socialism does to a country. Last 40 years, Argentina went from the Paris of South America to an absolute dump where this raging maniac who has absolutely no filter is on there saying crazy stuff about the left. And he won in a landslide. A landslide. Who would have ever thought that? Oh, by the way, before I let you go, real quick, what Chip Roy said the other day to Wray. Let me play this real quick before I let you go. This is crazy.
Director Wray.
I think Chip Roy might be somewhat legit when it comes to the American people. I can't say for sure, but him, Kennedy, there's a couple guys I've got to leave out there. Kennedy from Louisiana, Roy. At least they're asking the right questions. Whether they mean it or not deep down inside, I don't know, but they're asking the right questions. Sorry.
Greg. Last year, you might recall, sir, our exchange regarding the FBI's involvement on January 6th and prior. I'm happy to jog your memory to quote, according to the record, I asked you, did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol on January 6th prior to the doors being opened? You responded, I quote, again, I have to be very careful of what I say. To which I said, it should be a no. Can you not tell the American people no? We did not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol on January 6th. A year has passed. We sit here again a year later, we the people still do not have a definitive answer from you or anyone else in the Biden administration regarding.
Did I say Chip Roy? I'm sorry. That's 1790 pages. Who is it? Fuck. Wait a minute. Did I record it as Chip Roy? I think I did. Oh God, help me out, chat. What's his name? Fuck. Lupe, I see you in there. Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, Lupe, you tried to send super chats, but I won't let you. Yeah, I know. They've been blocking the super chats on the live streams and the videos have been uploaded, man. If you want, you can go to in the description to the Venmo or the Cash App and do it through there. If they demonetize the video because of the content, you can't share, comment, or super chat on it. So good to see you though, man. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm glad I see you now. I'm glad I caught you in the chat. Oh my God, no one knows what this guy's name is? 1796 Patriot. I'm disappointed. Holy shit. It's not Chip Roy though, you're right. All right, let me play it.
Presence.
I know, Maggie, yours did. Because we're doing a live stream right now. Lupe's talking about in the past.
Leading up to the November election and in the weeks and days prior to January 6th and on January 6th here in D.C. We can't get a straight answer, although we have a tremendous amount of evidence harvested and reviewed over the course of the last year, which you will see in September. Stephen D'Artano, formerly in charge of the FBI's field.
Clay Higgins, thank you. Yes, yeah. I just went and looked it up. Yeah, Maggie, I think Lupe is talking about the last couple of videos because, like I said, if they demonetize you, you can't get ad revenue, you can't share. Sometimes you can't comment, but you definitely can't super chat or super thanks on them. They're demonetized, so you can't make money off them. That's how they shut you up.
Field office in Washington, D.C. testified to the House.
Mike, you sent one tonight? If you sent one tonight, oh yeah, I see it right here, Mike. Yeah. If you sent one tonight, they haven't blocked this stream yet. They will once we get off, though, and they do a review of it. But yeah, tonight, though, they will go through. Because this isn't probably being blocked right now actively. Yeah. Thank you, by the way, bro. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
To the House Judiciary Committee that he was aware the FBI informants would attend the Stop the Steal rally thrown on January 6th. You confirmed that the FBI had confidential human sources at the Stop the Steal rally on January 6th here in D.C., sir?
Congressman, as we've discussed before, I'm not going to get into where we have or have not used confidential human sources. But what I can tell you,
on.
You asked for a definitive
We'll move
answer.
on. It's my time. You said no, you're not going to answer. That's cool. We're watching.
Mr. Chairman, may I answer the question?
Your moment will come. This is my time. Earlier this year, an FBI informant who is reported to have, under oath, marched to the U.S. Capitol with fellow Proud Boys members on January 6th, close quote. He said he was communicating with his FBI handler while people were entering the U.S. Capitol. Can you confirm that the FBI had that sort of engagement with your own agents embedded into the crowd on January 6th?
If you are asking whether the violence at the Capitol on January 6th was part of some operation orchestrated by FBI sources and or agents, the answer is emphatically
You're saying
not.
No?
No.
You're saying no?
Not
Okay.
violence orchestrated by FBI sources or agents.
Are you familiar with You know what a ghost vehicle is? Director of the FBI certainly should. You know what a ghost bus is?
A ghost bus?
Ghost bus.
I'm not sure I've used that term before.
Okay. Well, it's pretty common in law enforcement. It's a vehicle that's used for secret purposes. It's painted over. These two buses in the middle here, they were the first to arrive at Union Station on January 6th, 0500. I have all this evidence. I'm showing you a tip of this iceberg.
Mr. Chairman.
These two buses
Mr.
are
Chairman.
painted completely white.
Point of order.
Point of order. Sure.
Just run over the time.
I understand, but you'll recall that Ms. Jackson Lee's been allowed to go 2 minutes before. I've been very fair in letting people finish their.
So that was a Democrat button in there and saying, point of order. This guy's going over his time. He's talking to, just let Sheila Jackie, Miss Thang, go off on her rant for over 2 extra minutes. Now, as soon as hits to the point about these buses coming into D.C., this Democrat cuts him off and says as a point of order that he's running long on his time. And he's going to snap back right now and say, listen, I've been pretty fair about this across the board and giving everyone extra minutes.
Throughout my tenure as chairman, and I'll continue to be fair on that regard. But I will make a note to the members, if you could stay as close within your time as possible. We have a lot of people that want to ask these gentlemen questions. So with that, the gentleman yields, but you're
Okay. Now, this was even more recent since then.
Forms have produced about 100, reduced it down to January 6th. Did I misunderstand you? I thought that's what you said.
Well, I referred very specifically to undercover agents.
Yeah. And so are you acknowledging then there were undercover agents?
As I sit here right now, I do not believe there were undercover agents on scene.
Any
FBI
assets?
agents.
You
Did
either
have
know
any
or you don't.
Assets present that day in the crowd.
When it comes to what you're calling assets, or what we would call confidential human sources, that's a place where, again, I want to be careful, much as the other question. There are court filings that I think speak to this, that I'm happy to you, assuming they're not under seal, and that can better answer the question than I can as I sit here right now.
In the same June 2021 committee hearing, you told us that the FISA court, quote, approved FBI procedures, minimization procedures, collection and procedures, querying procedures, did not find misconduct, close quote. That's what you said. Specifically, you said the FISC found no misconduct. Yet 3 months later, the Inspector General found widespread problems in FBI's FISA applications, raising serious questions about the FBI review process of applications, including hundreds of examples of noncompliance with Woods procedures, for example. And we know that February 2020 to November 2021, the FBI conducted 3.4 million warrantless searches of U.S. data under FISA. 3.4 million. Up nearly triple the amount of the previous year, and it got worse as you were telling us there was nothing to worry about. But now your reforms have produced about 119,000, over 200,000 total, but 119,000 discrete Americans. It just doesn't seem like you've accomplished much there if you have 119,000 illegal searches and queries under FISA. I'll yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from California is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The House Judiciary Committee is responsible for helping to ensure the rule of law.
I'm not giving Ted Lieu 10 seconds. Bucks fan, thank you, man. Much love. Appreciate you. I tell you, every time you think you're at the end of your rope, you know, someone throws you a lifeline and reminds you that this endeavor is worth it. Because I debated heavily coming on tonight. I was like, listen, I got 2 choices. I can come out here and I'm going to sound like I'm bitching and moaning, which I am. I am bitching and moaning. Don't make no mistake. I am bitching and moaning. And do something that I never thought I would have to do. Like I said, I could have started memberships on this channel 2.5 years ago. It was something I consciously stayed away from because I just felt if it wasn't necessary, why am I going to burden people with a gimmick of, oh, you can put in, a cool emoji or stuff like that. If I didn't have to do that, I wasn't going to do it. And I'm just, I guess I came to my breaking point this far in. And so to you guys tonight who have helped out financially, I appreciate it, man. It means a lot because, it's not easy when you pour your heart and soul into something, which I try to do when I make the videos. Like I try not to just get on there and record in my bathroom or walk down the street and talk to you guys. Like, I try to make it enjoyable so that you can take in the information, but not be bored and still get the message across of like, at the end of the day, here's what we should be looking out for, be concerned about as, Americans. And, when I first started this channel, I didn't really think I was going to go down this road. I didn't think things were going to get as bad as they are right now. I figured Biden would be milquetoast and, he would be a schlep that just went up there and, Ron Klain kind of ran him from behind closed doors. He answered, had preconceived answers to speeches and, took already pre-asked questions from the media. But they are going fucking way beyond any of what I would have ever imagined with the indictments and the RICO cases. And I mean, out in the open, the AG is saying, I'm going to run on ruining Donald Trump. We've just never seen that anymore. And we got Al Sharpton and Jen Psaki and Joe Scarborough and his Muppet wife coming on to MSNBC every day, screaming from the roofs that Donald Trump is going to end democracy and persecute his opponents, when we're actually seeing that very thing being done to him right now. And I gotta say, no matter what you think about Trump, the fact that he continues to go out here and battle, yeah, some of it's probably ego, some of it's probably narcissism, but some of it also has to be that he cares. It has to be. There's no way you would go out here and jeopardize or put all of your known assets on the line, including your entire business and real estate ventures in the state of New York. You would never want to put that in the crosshairs of a radical government. And yet, he hasn't backed down. And so, no matter what I think about the man, how crass he is or any of that stuff, and, he's been kind of a pig with his wives in the past and cheated on women, but you know what? We've all done that. I'm no angel, and neither are any of the guys in this chat right now. And if you're married to one of the guys in this chat, they've never cheated on you, ladies. That's why you're subscribers to this channel, because they're all gentlemen. But yeah, I mean, we all got skeletons in our closet, right? None of us are. But there is a big difference between someone trying to literally destroy this country right in front of the faces of the American people right now. I mean, this open border thing is, I mean, it is going to put a massive strain on all of the government systems that we have in this country, from education to food stamps to housing. You can't just bring 10 million people into the country and with absolutely no funding for any of the programs they're going to need to take advantage of or want to take advantage of, and expect there to be everything to be copacetic. It's ludicrous that they are even trying to pretend like everything's okay. Check this out. And then I gotta go after that. I can't even breathe right now. I'm so stuffed. I'm sitting in this room.
Can't hear you. Could you come closer? Federal?
Yes.
Federal property? Okay.
Well, we're citizens of the United States, so
Yeah.
I understand.
we're here to film what's happening.
Mary, I'm sorry. That's okay. We just have one question. Our area, please.
Okay, as long as you answer just one question. Where are these nice people going? You don't know?
We are not allowed to talk to you right now.
Okay. And why are non-citizens allowed in the U.S., but American citizens not?
Who's telling you you're not allowed?
Thank you. Who is telling you you're not allowed? And why are non-citizens allowed on U.S. property, but Americans are not?
Yes. So
You need to get out of our area, please.
This is a bridge. Americans under the First Amendment are allowed on a public bridge, so.
Unbelievable. And you got you have this dickless wonder
can't hear you. Could you come closer?
who's got no balls.
Federal?
As soon as the little uppity to save his ass, he kicks rocks and runs off into the sunset. I mean, what a
Okay,
bitch.
well, we're citizens of the United States, so
Yeah.
I understand.
we're here to film what's
He's
happening.
like, thanks, boss.
Mary, I'm sorry. That's okay. We just have one question. Our area, please.
Okay, as long as you answer just one question.
I'll handle this. God, these weak men, man. No balls. And I know that the federal government's neutering them. I know it's not all their fault, but I'm glad to see the people in Ireland fucking giving a little pushback to this shit.
Where you from? Senegal. Where you going? Washington. Where you from?
Guinea.
Where you
Senegal,
going?
Guinea.
Where you from?
Senegal.
Where you going?
Senegal.
New York. Where you from?
Senegal.
Where you going?
New York.
Where you from?
Guinea.
Where you going?
New York.
Where you from?
Guinea.
Where you going?
New York. New Jersey.
Guinea.
From New York. New York.
¿De dónde?
Texas.
You? You? You?
Guinea.
You?
This is
You?
maddening, man.
¿Y yo? ¿A dónde?
Minneapolis.
¿Y tú?
Ecuador, Demorin.
¿Y tú?
América.
¿A dónde? Espérate. ¿A cuál? Where you going?
New Haven.
¿Y you?
Ecuador.
¿A dónde?
Minneapolis.
¿Y you?
Guinea.
¿A dónde?
New York.
You?
Guinea. New York.
Where you going?
New York.
You?
New York.
You?
New York.
You? You?
Texas.
You? 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 Where you going?
Texas.
You?
Texas.
You?
Texas.
You?
New York.
New York. You? New York. You?
Colorado.
Colorado. You?
One woman.
California. You?
California.
You?
California.
California. California.
Those guys are all from the
Where you
Middle
going?
East.
Atlanta.
Yes.
You?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. You?
New York.
New York. New York.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Where you going? Where you going?
Senegal.
Senegal. Where you? Ecuador. Where you going?
Mali.
Where you going?
Guinea. I want to go New York.
Where you going? ¿Dónde vas?
Phoenix.
Phoenix. Where you going?
Guinea.
Where you going?
Guinea.
You?
Johnny.
No. Go.
New York.
Thank you. You?
New York.
Where you coming from?
New York.
Where you going?
New York.
New York?
Boston.
Boston?
Eric Adams is fucked. He is fucked. He's federally fucked too.
Where you going?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. ¿A dónde van?
No insight.
¿A dónde? Norte Carolina.
Thank you, Mike.
Chicago. You? California. ¿A dónde vas? A Nueva York. ¿Tú? Whipplewhip. ¿Tú? Texas. Texas. California. Where you going?
New York.
New York. All the way. Where you going?
New York.
New York. Where you going?
It just never. It doesn't stop.
You?
New York.
You?
What do you want to bet that Biden wins New York and Chicago?
You? Philadelphia. Where you going? Chicago. Chicago. You? Nueva York. A Nueva York.
Brandon Johnson Adams is federally fucked right now. Like, now they're investigating him, the FBI, for campaign finance, and now he's got sexual harassment charges. Man, you do not push back against Joe Biden. He will wreck you. Weaponization of DOJ. I mean, do you think it's any coincidence that Eric Adams is being viciously attacked right now by the FBI, and on top of that, getting sexual harassment suit? The FBI showed up at his campaign finance headquarters the day he was heading to D.C. to go beg for federal funding, and now this. And he keeps going out there and saying there is no end in sight, and we don't have a plan for this, as the migrants are turning their nose up to the shelters that they've spent $13 million of taxpayer money because they've gotten accustomed to living at the Waldorf Astoria in fucking Times Square. And nobody in Congress on either side of the aisle is doing anything about it. Remember, the first thing Mike Johnson did when he became speaker was say that he was going to fund a aid package to Israel. It was not to close the border, right? Sadly enough. All right, I'm going to leave you guys with this out. I forget what this chick's name is, but she's really good at the news. This is a little history lesson on Thanksgiving, then I'm going to cut you guys out of here. All right, hold on. Here we go.
Right around the corner, I wanted to turn the mic over to Cross Connection favorite and my friend Jassy Ross for this week's essay and his take on the real story of Thanksgiving and some history you probably never read in your school books.
If you were feeling good about today, if your football team won, if you had a nice dinner with your family, get ready to have it ruined.
Natanako Umakumsaka. My name is Jassy Ross. I come from the Amskapi Pagani Nation. The mythology of Thanksgiving closely mirrors the mythology of America. That mythology is that white Americans love to see of themselves. White settlers come to a strange land in good faith, bringing something of great value that enriches the people who are already here. The natives also bring something of immense value, equal exchange. That closely mimics the mythology of white America. It is how America.
Do you think this guy realizes that no one is alive from that time period? Not only that, but no one knows anyone that knows anyone that was alive during that time period. Right? Like, this history lesson, if you were around, say, in like the 1820s or somewhere around then, maybe I could see you having an argument right now. But in 2023, don't you think the Indian people might have bigger issues than what happened when the Pilgrims landed? But go on.
America wants to see itself. The truth, of course, of Thanksgiving is much different. The truth is Pilgrims did not bring turkey, sweet potato pie, or cranberries to Thanksgiving. They could not. They were broke. They were broken. Their hands were out. They were begging. They brought nothing of value. But they got fed. They got schooled. Thanksgiving. It makes sense. Much for white Americans to be thankful for. But I'm still trying to figure out what indigenous people received of value. Instead of bringing stuffing and biscuits, those settlers brought genocide and violence. That genocide and violence is still on the menu, as state-sponsored violence against Native and Black Americans is commonplace, and violent private white supremacy is celebrated and subsidized. From Stonechild Chief Stick to Mike Brown to Renee Davis to Breonna Taylor to Eric Gardner, Indigenous and Black people are still being murdered by those paid to protect us. From Ahmaud Arbery, Von Martin, white Americans are still killing Native and Black Americans with no fear of reprisal. They brought chattel slavery to Africans and Native people. That still happens through the prison industrial complex that imprisons the descendants of enslaved Africans and Natives at far disparate numbers. That is the reality of Thanksgiving. Many of us are still waiting for white Americans to bring some value, still waiting for white America to match the mythology of Thanksgiving. Freedom, justice, equality, reparations for 2.5 billion acres of stolen native land, reparations for 246 years of stolen labor, reparations for stealing native children. Stop the killing. It's still happening. Stop the theft. It's still happening. Return the land. Match the mythology. Then, and only then, we can all be equally thankful. Peace.
I think so. Wild though that they lump in the Native Americans for some reason with Black Americans in this country. I don't understand that. I don't know why that's the case. These people need a real history lesson on what the Arab slave trade did to Black Americans before the transcontinental slave trade ever even existed. Again, talking about what we were talking about earlier with the Israelis and the Palestinians, this total war. Yeah, we came here, and not we, because I would say probably there's a good chance that 95% of us in the chat right now are not children of the Mayflower or came over with John Smith in the Roanoke colony in the 1660s, or even later, with the 1860s, like when there was a mass migration from Italy and Ireland, and right around the Civil War time, when literally Europeans were coming off the boats from Europe and walking right up to a draft table to go fight for freedom of other men and put their lives on the line for this country, a union that was fractured at that point, right? A fractured union, which Lincoln was trying to hold together, and went in and bled and died on battlefields for 4 years in brutal combat, right? Where it was up close, it was personal. It was sometimes family members against family members. You had all different types of people from all different nations fighting on one side or the other, depending on what your particular viewpoint on what the United States should be. Again, it's part of our historical cycle, right? This is a turning point in the history of the country, just like 2027 or 8 or whenever our crisis period ends and we go into a new awakening, which is going to happen. Like, it has never failed before. And we're going to need strong people to help lead this nation forward into that next high that's going to be coming after the crisis ends, because it is going to come to an end. One way or the other, it will come to an end. And you're going to need people with a backbone to propel this nation into its next high. Because we still have tons of great things about this country. I mean, there is so much that we are blessed with as Americans living on this soil, even though I'm not there right now. But, the soil that's under our feet in the United States is precious. We have tons of resources under there that can help us to, technologically advance and keep the human race running for centuries, right? Till our bones are nothing but dust in the ground and can, be blown away with a whisper, right? There is still something worth fighting for in this country. And it's going to take, again, strong leaders who are willing to put some of their petty differences aside and figure out what is the greater good for the American people. If that's fucking shutting down the border and putting up a wall, then that's what you need to do. And, it's funny. 3 years ago, we were told that a wall was racist. And we told y'all that was not the case, that we just wanted to make sure that we knew who was coming in and would be able to put some type of cap on it. And we didn't want a free for all, that we had a system of a proper way to come into this country and become a legalized citizen. And the lunatics on the left screamed racism and that it's bigotry and walls are racist. And yet here we are after 10 million people have flooded this country, most of whom we don't know who they are. Tens of thousands of children probably have been trafficked into this country for perverted fucking individuals on both sides of the aisle. I'm not saying it's just Democrats. There are sick people out there who like little children who will do anything to get their hands on them to exploit them in one way or the other. And, when they asked the people back in Germany, did you know what was going on? Why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you say anything? I don't think these people are going to come with a good enough excuse to let them possibly even go on anymore in this country. Like, maybe they're going to need the death penalty because that is how tight things are going to get the next couple of years. People are going to be barely able to scrape by. A lot of people are going to be barely able to scrape by. And a lot of people just sat back and watched and didn't either report on it or didn't want to make a big deal out of it or wanted to exploit it for some financial gain or because they wanted to virtue signal harder than the guy to the right of him or the left of him. And we're seeing kids being trafficked. We are seeing prostitution in the streets of the major cities right now. Girls being prostituted to pay back what they owed the coyotes who brought them over here. And I hate to say, but I'm guilty of this too. Just sitting back and doing nothing about it. I mean, I didn't push back. Would I push back if I was in Mississippi in 1861 and they were calling to secession and we need to fight the Yankee and preserve slavery? Would I have gone up against that? I don't know. I'm not doing it right now when I know there is fucked up shit happening at the border right now. And, I choose to keep it to a minimum so that I can keep coming on here and talking to you guys. Or, I haven't gone down there in person to personally exploit some of what the hell is happening. I don't want to be on the wrong side of history. So, anyways, I'm rambling. I'm going to let you guys go. Love you. Thank you for coming by and hanging out and listening to me ramble tonight. And I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. And I appreciate all the support from everyone. Like I said, I'm not begging for handouts. I just want you to guys know what's going on in the real world. Things have gotten pretty bad, and they are definitely clamping down for the next 11 months. If you aren't towing the fucking line, they will put you out of business. So, I thank you guys for the help tonight and listening to me and understanding where I'm coming from. And like I said, next 3 nights we'll be doing lives. Keep coming out. I'm going to still have a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. See what happens overnight with Ireland. Hopefully things pipe down a little bit, but no effects yet of these people getting desperate in this country because they've been handed everything since they've walked in the front door or the back door. and they really haven't felt a harsh winter or their ATM card not working or their food stamps being overdrawn. They haven't really had to deal with that yet. So I don't know how they're going to react over the next 11 months. I don't know how some of these pro-Hamas Palestinian people are going to continue to act as Israel bombs them into oblivion and the world sits by and watches and lets it play out, which, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but they're not going to like it. Let me see if I play this one last video clip. This is the last one, I swear. I've been saving this for last. I heard this the other day, and it literally sent chills up my spine. Where is it? Hang on. I gotta start making more folders for the live streams. This was like 2 weeks ago at one of the pro-Palestinian rallies. This chick talks some wild shit, what she said. But she sounds like she means business. And I believe she does. She doesn't sound like she's playing around. Her name is Lamis Deek. I believe she's a lawyer in D.C. Here's what she said.
Declare unequivocally that all Palestinians are freedom fighters, that those who fight for justice and the other, like Hamas, like Jabha, like Islamic Jihad, like the Iranian Al-Quds forces, like the PFLP, are all freedom fighters who fight not just for the defense and liberation of Palestine. They fight for the safety and the protection of all people to whom Israel as apartheid is a global threat, to whom Israel as the mobilizer of the world global machine. From Sudan to Guatemala, they have killed tens of thousands of people, is a global threat, that our resistance serves not just themselves and Palestinians, but serves the world. But the war has escalated. The war of liberation is coming. Palestinians inside Palestine, Palestinians you see here, are facing a new and renewed threat to our daily lives, and this requires that our allies on the streets of New York stop, confront, and demand the dismantlement of Zionist settler groups that are mobilizing war crimes in Palestine, that we escalate our direct action against this corridor of war crimes, that we escalate our direct action at our campuses and against war corporations, that we expose and leave no enclave safe for the oppressors who seek to expand and revive apartheid. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! No justice! No justice! No justice!
Last time I heard that, no justice, no, was the Summer of Love 2020. Get ready. Get ready. I think if you don't think that people are going to be riled up next year, and maybe more so after the election, especially if Trump does get elected, people are going to have, if you think that 2016 was meltdowns, we're going to see serious derangement syndrome on a whole nother level. mean, people might be throwing themselves off buildings. It could get wild. But before that, they're going to do their damnedest to make sure that he doesn't win again. And I don't think there's anything that's off limits. I think they will use every tool in the toolbox in order to keep you home, to continue to make sure you can vote from a mail-in with a mail-in ballot. Whatever it's going to take to scare people out of actually going down to a precinct that's local to them with their ID and filling out a slip to vote for the president, I think they are going to wield that. And some people might not be willing to put up with it. Like I said a couple times, like, is it going to take American citizens at the doors of precincts with AK-47s and AR-15s checking people's IDs just to make sure? I could see that happening. I could see some group organizing months before the election saying, all right, we're going to need volunteers in every state and every precinct to be within 40 yards of a destination where you can go vote to check IDs because the government refuses to do it. We're going to need patriots who are citizens who have the right to make sure there's a free and fair election. We just want to make sure you have identification before you come in and cast a vote. I could see that happening. I could see that getting dicey in some places. Like if it's in Atlanta and it happens to be primarily white people that show up to volunteer, is that going to be a race problem? I don't know. I could see things getting extremely hairy, though. Again, these people want to die in the chair. That poor SOB that just passed away from California last year, Dianne Feinstein, was an absolute mess. I mean, she was probably pissing herself. She had no idea which way she was voting or on what. The last time she tried to throw her 2 cents in about a vote, she actually exposed the hypocrisy of the way she voted on it. They had to shut her up because she was actually telling the truth. It shows you really these positions of power are they mean a lot to people. And being able to wield it like that, and that hubris that you know best, you know better. You are better. Your plan is better. The farther we stray away from the original documents that set this country up, the more lost we will become. That's just my opinion. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. Love y'all. Thanks to the mods and Pam, Lucy, the donators tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out and helping out. This is going to go back into the channel, man. Every penny that I'm barely getting now goes back into the channel. So it's to make sure we keep this forum open. And if they want to demonetize me, fine. They can do that every day. But as long as I have good people out there willing to help support what we're trying to do and at least have discussions about how we should be fighting this fight. What is the right way around this? What is, the way we should go about handling these people? We got to have open, honest conversations about it. And there's very few places you could do that. Maybe Twitter, some demonetized YouTube channels, and I will try to hook up Rumble to make sure the next time that we go live tomorrow night that we're on there too. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Happy Thanksgiving. Don't be discouraged by what that guy said. If you're white and you celebrate Thanksgiving today, you have no ancestors who had anything to fucking do with what happened when the Mayflower landed. Just understand that. Don't feel bad about your skin color. Feel bad for the turkey you ate today that was probably butchered and murdered just hours before coming to your table. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Love you. Have a good night. Peace.